Hey, what's up, everyone? Here today with Ryan Clark. Ryan, you want to tell everyone kind of what you do and where you work and kind of some of your credentials real quick?
Right now, I'm a registered nurse. I work here in Spokane, Washington, at one of our local hospitals.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, so everyone's just talking about the coronavirus and just what's happening in the world. So people are just confused. We've never seen kind of these measures taken before, as far as like why social distancing and things like that. So do you kind of want to explain some of the just some of the precautions that have been implemented on especially like all of California right now, a lot of stuff in Washington, New York, kind of all over the United States and the world. Like, why are these things kind of taking place, and what is the benefit that, as a nurse, that you're able to see from these precautions being put in place?
So the main goal of all of this, the social distancing, restricting large groups, all that, the main goal is not to overwhelm our healthcare system. Right now, if we continue on the trajectory that we are at, we're going to probably see, no matter what, we're going to see the same amount of people infected. However, we can slow that rate down. If we can slow that rate down, we can get people treated in hospitals better. So everybody's not going all at once and flooding us. We're really just telling people to stay at home.
Interesting. So is COVID-19 a more like contagious disease than many of the other ones we've seen, or is it kind of a combination of the contagion level, whatever that is, and like the severity of it, or what are some of the other things that kind of play into the whole thing that we don't see with like a cold or a flu or something like that? Why is this one a little bit different?
It's a new virus, so our immunity just hasn't seen it yet, and so it really packs a punch because of that. Infectious wise, is it more contagious or less contagious than the influenza? Is it more deadly or not? And I think we're still trying to investigate that. What we're seeing so far, though, is it's definitely killing a lot more people a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
If we're going to compare it to influenza, but that's apples and oranges, really. I mean, influenza is a completely different virus. I mean, they're both the only similarity is they're both viruses that can pass human to human. Really
interesting. So I just listened to a podcast which was maybe a little bit helpful, but it kind of compared COVID-19 to like SARS and MERS as like a lower respiratory, whereas the flu is it's a different kind, like it affects a different kind of system. Is that accurate? And can you kind of explain just like super briefly the differences?
So with COVID-19, you're dealing with a virus that attaches the outer proteins on the virus attach directly to specific lung cells. It's like a lock and key. It just so happens that our lung cells are what it can fit with. So that's how it's able to just spread from human to human so well. What was the other part of the question?
What does the flu do?
So the influenza is spread in pretty much the same way, just like most viruses. It's like human to human contact, and they're both spread with droplet through droplets. So when you're sneezing, when you're coughing, and they can also stay on surfaces for a while. So if you sneeze, those droplets fall to a surface, and they can stay there for. We're still trying to figure out, how long they can stay and survive on a surface. But viruses can't live in the air or isolated on its own. It has to be in a droplet, or it can't survive.
Interesting. So So the flu like affects your stomach and your system that way. This is different where it affects your lungs, which is why it's essentially just a different disease altogether. And because we don't have the immunity built up over, you know, our entire lives of dealing with this virus over and over, basically our systems are ill prepared for taking on this new thing, which is why there is the concern where, I mean, obviously flu shots, things like that are a normal concern, but most people have gotten the flu at some point in their lives and are still around to tell about it. So that's basically the difference. Is what you're saying is there appears to be just not a natural immunity built up yet.
Well, in influenza it's pretty deadly on its own. It's who it's really infecting that we're trying to protect. The flu takes quite a lot of lives every year, and it's also considered a respiratory disease. Coronavirus just affects different cells.
Interesting. Okay. So obviously the social distancing, washing your hands, those kind of things are just sort of preventative measures. And kind of the other fear you were saying is basically people that we don't know how to treat this yet. And are symptoms pretty different from patient to patient from what you've heard or experienced?
No, not really. It really just depends on other comorbidities that you might have, which are basically if you're a smoker, you're going to get hit harder. If you have other respiratory illnesses or diseases, COPD, cystic fibrosis, anything, autoimmune diseases, if you have that going on in addition to catching the coronavirus, your symptoms are going to be a lot harder to manage. Right now, it's the only approach that we have right now, because we don't have a vaccine for it. I think they're starting trials for a specific vaccine in Seattle starting this week. But because we don't have anything else, it's just about symptom management, and that includes managing fever, managing pneumonia, things like that.
Cool. So which symptoms or at what point should someone seek medical help or get tested, as opposed to, oh, I have a runny nose, I think I'm just going to stay home, or I have a runny nose, I should run to the doctor and get tested, or what's the procedure for someone who's not feeling well, and at what point do you go, and where do you go?
So right now, Multicare, I know that Multicare is at the fairgrounds, and you can give them a call. They're actually doing drive-through nasal swab tests where you can just drive in. They can test urinaries with a test, and then so you can stay in your car and then leave. I don't know. What was the other?
So there are tests available, and that would
There's testing. I mean, they're limited. If you're at home and you're not feeling well, I really recommend you monitor your temperature. If it's staying high, you can't control it. Not even with like Tylenol. Don't take ibuprofen. It's not being recommended right now by the World Health Organization.
I've heard that can make it worse potentially. Is that right?
I haven't read a whole lot into it. I just know that they're not recommending it at this time.
Interesting. Okay.
So if you can't manage your fever, if your symptoms are getting worse, if your shortness of breath is getting worse, if doing very simple things like walking to the bathroom becomes extremely difficult, go in. Absolutely. If you're able to talk, if you're able to walk around without difficulty, you just have a cough and mild symptoms, stay home.
Cool. Awesome. Very cool. Well, perfect. That's great. Do you have any links or anything to any websites that you want to send to me? I can kind of post with this video down below.
There's a couple of really good YouTube videos about examples of how viruses spread within a group of people. I have, I have links to physicians who kind of explain the virology and the process of how the viruses and affecting the different lung cells. I can share those with you for sure.
Awesome. Well, cool. I'll post those in the comment section below. If you have questions, consult a doctor. Do not take this video as the ultimate medical advice. So, but hopefully this was helpful. And yeah, stay safe, wash your hands, practice social distancing. And let's all come out on the other side of this as a stronger community. So thanks a lot, Ryan. Appreciate it. Any final parting words or?
I'm just an orthopedic nurse, so I mean, things are changing so frequently. You know, what I say at an hour from now might be totally inaccurate. So we're just going day by day. So
awesome, perfect. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.